The views expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station.
Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan, a WBKB News public affairs program. Insights deals with the issues affecting those in the community, as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights into Northeast Michigan.
Good morning and welcome to this edition of Insights. I'm joined by ACC Professor of Political Science Tim Kuhnlein. And Tim, I want to talk about the recent jobs report that was just released and kind of what the information that was given out kind of means to America.
Well, good morning. Well, clearly we're seeing evidence of the continuing 8-year recovery from the financial crisis, and this is a good thing. What we're seeing is a new administration inherit a relatively strong economy. The statistics you're referring to are just over 200,000 jobs created in the month of January alone in 2017. And this is in juxtaposition to, for example, the over 500,000 jobs lost back in November of 2008. And so we're at an unemployment rate of about 4.8%, slightly up from previous months at 4.6%. And obviously our economy is in a rally. I think the concern is this, is it too much going too fast? Is there a level of irrational exuberance there that will invariably create the need for a correction, and what would that look like?
And for the most part, a 4.8% unemployment rate is actually pretty strong for the economy.
That's pretty standard. I mean, I don't even remember my lifetime being much lower, but if we could get to a 3% or lower unemployment rate, wouldn't that be nice? But indications are that we're at near capacity. And what we have is an anemic labor force of participation.
What do you mean at capacity?
Well, basically, evidence shows that people who want to be employed are employed. The question is, are they employed at the fullest capacity for their preferences? Were they settling for part-time jobs or less than desirable jobs in terms of pay? But we have about 5.5 million jobs unfilled. But there's a indication that we've reached capacity in terms of those who really want jobs. The quality of the jobs is another issue. And these jobs are being created even despite minimum wage increases. So that shows that in many respects the demand for jobs is outpacing the supply of labor, at least qualified to meet many of these jobs, particularly in the high skill areas, but then also in the lower end of the jobs market. You've got unskilled labor, and the question becomes, is the pay sufficient enough to entice people to actually want to work?
And what do you think the significance is with a new president taking over, having the jobs report come out saying there's growing jobs and the unemployment rate is still pretty low?
Well, it's good for the new administration. It's good for the country as a whole. I think the challenge right now is growing the economy to not only create better jobs and higher paying jobs in the right industries that are moving the global economy forward and subsequently the national economy. Trump has promised some 25 million new jobs, and that would be unprecedented because 25 million new jobs is the equivalent of Reagan and both Bushes combined over 20 years of time. It's just unrealistic. So I think the challenge again is getting a sort of a reasonable assessment of what can be done to help move our national labor force forward in the context of a growing economy that is a sustainable and substantive economy. Our wages are growing at a meager rate, and average hourly earnings are up by 0.1%, and we're slightly ahead of inflation. I guess it begs the question: are Americans satisfied with what they're doing? Is it returning on the investment enough to motivate them to work harder? And of course, to pursue the skills that would put them in a better position.
And there's been a lot of talk, actually, when this was released. The Democrats praised Obama's work for, the end of his office, being able to get the jobs created and things like that. But the Republicans were against it, saying, these weren't quality jobs, and people they're not really trying to find work, and that's why the unemployment rate is down.
Well, and we can bicker about where the unemployment rate comes from and who's included, who's not. I mean, this is constantly a sort of a morphing dynamic because, historically, did we expect women to work? And now they're part of the workforce. And so you've just expanded the workforce, and we're reaching these points of saturation. The question is our labor force skilled to be able to fill positions, jobs that are higher quality jobs, that are sustainable living jobs? And in this sense, we're facing a bifurcated workforce. 55% of Americans do not have a college degree nor a post-secondary credential. And so it begs the question, where are they left in the equation of an increasingly globalized economy? But even if we see a retraction from globalization, which is very evident, is it a problem then of the technology? There's a lot of talk with the carrier and bringing these jobs, with Carrier Corporation and bringing jobs back. We may get the jobs back, but are we going to be able to sustain the incomes of people who filled those jobs? Technology is replacing the need for people. And when Mexicans work at $4 an hour and Chinese at $1.36 and Africans at 36 cents an hour, it puts the American worker, the unskilled worker, at historically $25 an hour, now 15 or something around these numbers. It puts us at a very significant disadvantage.
And like you brought up earlier, Trump said he wants to create 25 million jobs, which is a crazy amount of number of people. But a lot of those jobs would be those kind of, low-educated, kind of just working jobs in a factory.
Well, I don't know that he's really clarified that. I mean, certainly he's talking about bringing manufacturing back in. Manufacturing is still strong. It drives much of the economy, but it employs fewer and fewer people because, and it's not so much the relocation of jobs abroad as much as it is the technology, the automation replacing the need for humans. What we need is skilled labor to run the automation, to conceive of the automation, and then to run it, to operate it. 80% of our labor force is in the service sector. And the driving economy that I think he probably, like most of us, want to see is the development of better jobs that replace those types of jobs. Unfortunately, we need to bring the labor force with us in terms of the education and the skill. The technology and leisure and hospitality industries are sort of the leading markets of the economy. We need engineers, skilled trades, particularly welding, accounting, information technology, and office and professional services are front and center. There's a lot of movement towards call centers, and then entry-level warehouses and light assembly. So, we need a variety of these skilled labor to fill these roles, but obviously the economy is morphing based on both national and international demands. The question is, can we get the labor force motivated enough to make the transitions when necessary?
It's definitely an interesting question. We're going to continue this conversation in a little bit, so stay with us because there's more insights after the break.